Okay, so I want to thank everyone for being a part of our talent pool. And the reason why we're having this town hall conversation is, we also understand that, a couple of tech talents in our talent pool must probably have questions, and some of these questions are things that they probably want to talk about, and we also have feedbacks from our own end, what we're seeing from the market, what the market is saying, and also how we can then further advise, you as the tech talent in our talent pool to further navigate the job market, to obviously get placed, in jobs that are out there, jobs locally, and also jobs, in the international market. So just like what Shalom has said, sometime last month, there was kind of like an incident, where a couple of tech talents complained that they were not getting feedbacks on some of the roles that they were applying to. However, those feedbacks were being triggered from the recruitment team internally, but there was a technical glitch that made that feedback not to get into your emails. And by the time we resolved it, there was now a ton of emails being sent out to a lot of people's inboxes, which looked spammy. So we kind of like apologize for that, from the get-go that, some of the feedbacks, you were not getting them, they were actually logged, just that, there was a technical glitch at that point in time. So, I would just like to open the floor, for, questions that, anyone in the community might have asked, or maybe their talent managers, and they want to kind of like, gain a first-hand data or information from the team internally here at ProDevs, and maybe you want to understand our processes better, and you want to, know how to further position yourself better, the floor is yours, to just simply ask those questions, and we can then take up the conversation from there. It's a town hall meeting, so the goal is for us to simply just discuss. Okay. Hi, Kunle. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you for holding this session. Something which I've always looked forward to. My name is Adeolua Ibikunle. Yeah, I have a question regarding your platform. And this is, yes, I see the jobs get posted, although one thing I've noticed is that most of the jobs which get posted are usually full-time jobs. Yeah, of course, some of them might be remote, some of them might be local, some of them might be international. But there are some of us whom I believe on this channel, there are other people like that who fall into this category. We have day jobs, full-time jobs, right? And we love our jobs, not like we are trying to switch jobs, but we happen to have a lot of free time. And this time could be used in doing something. So what do you have in store for, let's say, consultants or contractors? Do you have, or do you intend to source for opportunities for this sort of individuals? We're looking at short-term projects, not long-term, nothing too fully committed, but like, maybe 2 months, 3 months project, and those kind of things. Consultancy, basically, and not full-time jobs.
Okay, thank you so much for asking that question. So as of right now, we have within our platform the gig section, and that section is typically, if you've been vetted and let's say you have an engineering level from above, engineering level 3 and above, you typically would have access to the gig section. And from time to time, we usually have conversations with other CTOs, other CEOs, other founders, other companies who are looking to not expand their team, but probably build out little features within their product, and at that point in time, we always encourage them to use the gig section, and that's typically where you can get the short-term gigs on. We also know that we obviously have more jobs coming in, full-time jobs, than the gigs, but internally the business team is working on that to get more gigs, and create more visibility for our clients, in that regard, because there's that perception that they see us as a firm that just focuses on full-time and part-time, so as of right now, we're also working on that perception that, see, you can also come in here if you have gigs, you can give our tech talent these gigs, so at the moment we have that place. Also, we also, times when, and this is also great when you establish kind of like good relationships with your talent managers, because if you look at your profiles, you see everybody actually has a talent manager, and then you can simply from time to time ask questions, also tell them some of the things you do, because as some opportunities are coming that sometimes it requires that before we even get to post it on the portal, in itself, how would I put it? We already kind of like have an idea of the consultants that can actually take care of these positions, and those kind of things are kind of like part-time, quick gigs, but anytime it's a full-time, we'll kind of like post it. So if you have working with your talent managers is one of the fastest ways to be successful on the platform, so that's what I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Yusuf.
Yeah, good evening. I'm happy to be here. So my question is, I joined the ProDev quite not long. So I sent a message to my manager whatsoever, maybe last week or so. So I applied for like 6 jobs, though I understand that there are technical glitches, but even if there are technical glitches that we cannot receive email message, why can't we have the feedback on the platform? So there is a place for interview. So what I asked my manager was that I applied for like 6 jobs, and I did not receive any interview from all those 6 jobs. What is really happening? Is it that there are other things that we still need to do before we can get an interview, or what's really happening with it? Is it the technical glitches or what? So that's the question I want to ask.
Okay. Okay, so there are so many factors, to get an interview. So I'll just talk about a couple of them real quickly. Typically when we post out jobs on our platform, the clients that reach out to us most of the time, they've tried all the other options to kind of like get quality people, and they've not been able to, and there's always that need or that intensity to say, we want to hire quickly. Hence the reason why we're coming to you guys. And what we've seen from data and people that have been successful is typically when we put up a job role, be among the first set of people that apply for that role, and that's the reason why the notifications are important. And we found out late that those notifications were not going out, which we apologize for. But the first set of people that actually get to apply for those jobs, the recruitment team typically focuses on that badge. So they kind of like badge it behind the scenes, and they go through profiles, and by the time the first set of people have been interviewed and we send some candidates to our clients, in this case, most of the time, the client just picks someone, quickly, interviews the person, they like the person, and they just proceed. And now what that does right now is, what about people that came in 2 days after to see that role, when the client was still trying to make their decision, and probably we on our own end were still reviewing. So when they come back to us and tell us that, oh, we finally hired and we finally closed this role, what that means is, even on our own decks, we don't tend to have the opportunity to then go through every other person's profile. Reasons being because that role has been closed. So there's no point doing that. So hence the reason why we always tell, our tech talents, once a role comes out, be among the first set of people to then apply for that role. And another thing to also note too is your profile. Take your profile serious. Always put the best version of yourself out there. There is no experience that should be ignored. no experience at all. And another thing you should also note with your profiles, because it's easy to just say, update your profile. One thing to note is let it be consistent with the role you're applying for. So if you're applying for a full stack role or a backend role, on your CV, let it be consistent that you've done some backend stuff. Even if you've been a full stack developer somewhere, okay, put full stack, then put the technologies that you used in that particular organization when you worked at that organization, put it there, so that way it gives more life to your profile. It makes your profile, it makes them want to invite you for an interview. So update your profile. I think I'll just allow my colleague, one of my colleagues, Lamide, to just, kind of like buttress on this more. So Lamide, over to you.
Thank you so much, William. Just to add to what you've said, hi Yusuf, a couple of things to note. So, like William said, when you update your profile, you should always take those things seriously. For example, we check some talent profile pictures, right? We just put maybe a laptop, they put something like if we send those kind of profiles to some clients, they just look at the person as unserious, even without checking your CV. Those are things that some clients take seriously, when they look at your LinkedIn and it's not corresponding with your CV, or there are just some I don't want to say mediocre things there, but that's why we're saying you should actually take updating your profile really serious, right? So any skill that you learn, no matter how little it is, add it to your CV. Nothing is no knowledge in the waste. Add it to your CV. Let your CV speak for the role that you're about to apply for. Let it sell yourself. That's how you're selling yourself, even before the interview. When it's attractive enough, the client then says, oh, I want to speak to this person, because they're not seeing you. What they can see is your profile, your CV, your LinkedIn. Do you understand? So when you put all of this in place, it increases your chances of getting noticed. And when you get noticed, then, you then be shortlisted for interviews and then, going on in the hiring process. Thank you, William.
Hello, Yusuf, I hope that helped.
I don't think Yusuf is still on the call.
Yeah, I'm on the call. So I really appreciate the answer. So I'm good. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Joshua, over to you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Williams. So my name is Joshua. I just want to say thank you for the work you guys are doing. Actually be applying for some jobs, some ProDevs lately. But I would just like it's kind of like an advice. So I currently work in a company based in Lagos, and I just wanted to like ask, since you have the experience, like I'm trying to push for better opportunities, especially foreign ones, yeah. And something kind of happened that I noticed. So last year I was getting interviews, roles, and the rest, but I was kind of not going through. So it's either I passed the technical tests, but they don't continue anymore. And then what I noticed this year was when I do the test, they don't even get back to me. So I was kind of wondering what was going wrong. So I've tried different approaches. I've tried reaching out to the recruiters. I've tried, building on stuff, though the time is limited, especially lately, because like there's not much time when you're working with, Nigerian companies. So basically my question is just how can one, increase his chances of getting better opportunities working in because my goal is just to work in, I want to see how stuff are done outside, just outside my comfort zone. So how can one increase the chance of getting a job in, foreign stuff, foreign jobs, and also, how can one fight that imposter syndrome? It's those two things I have. So those two questions. So increasing your chances of getting job and fighting imposter syndrome. So for the job part, it's just I know some people have reached out to me, they've checked my CV and stuff like that. They say like it's okay, but I'm kind of wondering what is wrong, like what am I missing? Is there something I'm missing? So I would really appreciate if you could provide some insights on those things. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joshua. Okay, so one of the key secrets behind getting international roles, I would say, is you being a transparent book. That's as easy as I can say it. For example, you need to have a profile that people can see, and you're smiling. People can see you visibly. You need to now take your social media a bit serious so that people know how you think. Especially LinkedIn, you need to take LinkedIn seriously. You need to start following people, because when you start following people and start talking about what you do, you begin to gain confidence in yourself, around what it is you do. And by default, it fights that imposter syndrome. Another thing I would say is, if there are gigs you can take those gigs and think of yourself as a consultant, or as a, someone reaches out to you and have your own clients, have your own mini consultancy firm, in your own regards, because to help build your confidence. So if I may ask, what do you do so that way I can make it more easy?
All right, thank you very much, William. So I'm a software engineer actually. I do front end and back end, but I'm front end heavy. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So now, prior to now, do you have, within your work environment, do people reach out to you for gigs, and that kind of stuff, for you to build projects for them?
So previously when I was in, because I kind of changed location. I was in Abuja before, but I kind of changed location. So I usually have gigs because I move out more then. So, but I moved to my parents' house for some time. I'm still at their home. So I've not really been getting gigs like that the way I used to. So I would say maybe from a scale of 1 to 10, it's like 2/10 for gigs. Yeah.
So I think the first step would be start going out, start going for tech events, start being out there, start talking about what you do, play around with AI. You're a software engineer, to build a mini project, put it out there. These things fly. It helps the algorithm. The algorithm helps your profile to move around. And for example, you're on this call, you have an avatar right now. I want to see your face. I want to know who I'm talking to. Attend some webinars, go out there, ask questions like you're asking right now. You just see that before you know what's happening, you start seeing yourself having more confidence out there. When you go out for interviews, and you're having interviews with people, you're communicating what you know, because you've spoken to not just one person, but multiple people. So it has built that confidence in you. So from what I hear, I don't think your profile is the problem. I just think it's probably how you sell it. That's probably the problem, how you sell yourself. And when people have that conversation with you, they're like, I'm not sure of this guy. I heard of I spoke to someone that's more confident than this guy, even though the person's profile is not as good as this guy. That's a thing that happens, behind the scenes that, a lot of tech talents don't know. Then possibly in your organization right now, start looking for ways to take up leadership positions, in a way whereby they can now start inviting you to now start interviewing other developers to join the organization. So these are some of the things that you can do to kind of like help you. But I'll allow my colleague Queen. I know Queen has a couple of things to say. So Queen, over to you. Okay.
Hi, good evening. Okay, so what I have to say is, firstly, it could be a communication issue right? How you communicate with them. One thing I've noticed is these international guys, they're always afraid to have someone on board that they cannot easily communicate with. So maybe you may need to work on communication when you're having interviews with them. And then secondly, I think that you say you're a full stack, right? When you're applying for roles like that, one thing that can really help you is if you're very heavy on front end, I think you should pursue roles that are front end so that it gives you more opportunity to get more jobs or more invites to have interviews, right? So just focus on, if it's back end, focus on back end. They want to really, even though they say, oh, be a full stack, they really want to see someone that has like a level of experience using a particular in a particular field or a role. So I think those are the things you need to also look at. And then always tailor your CV. And one thing again I noticed is, if you're going to apply for a role, ensure that you're looking at the JD very well, and then you're making sure that if you're applying, your CV is in sync with what they are really looking for. It shows you when they go and type they're looking for CSS. Once they type CSS, your CV should be one of the ones that will come up or something. So those things too are things that you also need to look at while applying. You might be a very good full stack person, but they also look at years as well. So you can look at that. And can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Quim, can I hear you?
Okay, can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you.
Yeah, so you can look at that and try and work on your profile as well to be tailored into what they want. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Just that help.
Yeah. Thank you very much, William. Thank you, Queen. Just one more thing. I don't know if I can follow William on LinkedIn or something. I would like to connect with Mr. William and Miss Queen, if that's
Definitely.
fine.
Definitely. But I think your question kind of like stirred a lot of other questions, So two of my colleagues are raising their hands up. So I think they also want to add their
Okay.
voice. So
All right.
Lamide, you came first. I'll allow you go first, then KG, you can go next.
Awesome. Thank you so much, William. Okay, so I'm going to just give you a few pointers, right? From what Queen and William have said, right? Just take it as you are trying to write an exam. If you are fully prepared, if you're ready for that exam, there's a level of confidence that you're gonna have. So first thing I'll say to you is know your stuff. Know whatever it is that you're doing. If you're front end heavy, know it. Make sure you are able to communicate what it is that you know. There's a difference between knowing something and then being able to do it. When you know your stuff and you're able to communicate, you're able to sell yourself, there's that level of confidence that people see, they know that this guy is articulate, this guy can handle, it's that confidence that people want to see that this person can actually handle this thing. That's what will make people want to give you, that international role. And that's how they think. Do you understand? So know your stuff. Make sure that whatever it is that you're preparing for, you are actually prepared. Your profile is ready, your LinkedIn, everything, basically, and then sell yourself. Leave the rest. That's what I have to say.
All right, thank you, Lamide. Hi, Joshua. So to add to what every other person has said, I'll just say that don't have a generic CV. Like you said, you do full stack, but you're heavy on the front end. And like Queen said, that when you know that you are heavy on a particular part, you should focus on that part. So if you are applying for a job that says front end, I would advise that you actually create a front end CV to apply for that job, as opposed to just using a full stack. You could mention in the CV that you also do full stack or just had your backend skills, but let it be obvious and clear to everybody who sees that CV that you do front-end development. So that's something I would say. Never also, apart from that, never use a generic CV to apply for all the jobs that you see. Even if you're applying for another front-end job, like Queen said, pay attention to the job description, because there will be something in this first front-end job that you're applying for that is not on the second one that you're applying for, or there will be something on that second front-end job that is not on the first. So please always pay attention to all those things, and always try to edit your CV to fit the requirements before you submit your application. And I think those things would actually help you, in addition to everything every other person has said.
Awesome. Thank you, KG. Okay. I think Michael has a question for us. Michael, over to you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, William. My name is Michael. I'm a software developer. And first of all, I think I have two things to say. First one is a question. The second one is like an advice to the person that asks for getting a gig with an outside country. I would say, first of all, let me just put that one out first. I'm working with an international company right now called Backstage, and before I can get the job, and before I even get the job with any other company I've worked with, the first thing I face from every interview is, when you first get to the first interview, most of them is just a recruiter, and most of these recruiters, they don't know anything about the technology. They just want to know you and what you do and the kind of person you are and how you can relate with the team that they want to put you with. So first of all, you need to let them understand who you are, explain who you are to them, and make sure that you are very plain with who you are and what you can do. It's not about the particular tech that you can. The tech is important, definitely important, but it's how you can actually relate with the team that they want to put you with. That's what I think, and that's what I've been relating with every interview that I go into. But when you now get to the tech interview space where they want to interview you one-on-one with that particular technology that you know, explain to them your process according to how you're actually doing it, or according to how you want to do it. You might actually not get the actual stuff right, but your thought process needs to be clear and need to be forward to them. So that's what I just want to say. My question goes to I think William and everybody else. First of all, I've applied to a particular role for a very long time. I think it's almost 2 to 3 months now. I've not heard anything about it, and the role is still active. I know there's some roles that are not active anymore, and the role is still active. And there's a particular role that I applied to. Was it this week? And Queen got back to me immediately today, and she asked me some questions, and I got back to her. I think she have not even replied me. The one I've applied to, is it still on? If it's not on, why is it still active on my profile? Or why is anybody not getting back to me that, oh, this particular role, this is what is going on, and this is what we are working on about it? I'm just asking. Does it apply to other roles too like that? That's my question so far. Sorry if it looks too jam-packed. I'm working. That's the reason why I just want to say everything rush. Sorry about that.
That's fine. By the way, you have a very good communication frequency. I wanted to just pass that across. How you communicated, was, and anyone on the call that when you go for your interviews, always check your communication frequency, how you're communicating. Okay, so I would answer your question. So you applied for a job 3 months ago. So we've noticed that there are times when a client reaches out to us and tell us they want to start a process in January, and they're going to eventually hire in April. So at that point in time, we have some clients that are like that, and some clients tell us that, okay, in between the process, they want to pause this process right now, and they want to resume it at so and so time, probably because of a couple of reasons. We've had reasons whereby a company will tell us that the investor pulled out, so they probably will have to discontinue this process. Some will tell us that, we're expecting funds here. Let's just pause the process and resume, a month's time. So I'm sure that if you reach out to your hiring manager or your talent manager, they will give you the insights you need to know about that particular role. But I don't think I would want to do that here to ask the role, but what can happen is probably after this town hall, what you can then do is just either reach out to myself or go to your talent manager on your profile. You see your talent manager, just reach out to them directly. They will then give you more information about what's going on in that role. Either the client has paused it and looking to resume it at XYZ time, and at the moment, have you been passed to the client, or on your profile, it still shows that profile has been reviewed and it's still ongoing? Can you just throw more light there?
Oh, it's still showing profile review or something like that. It's still at that particular stage of profile review. So, and nobody has gotten back to me or told me anything about it.
So, but I'm sure if it was paused, either the information was disclosed, but probably because of the issue we had last month with regards to our emails, we noticed we had a technical glitch, and emails were not going out. We're giving feedbacks. The recruitment team was giving feedbacks, but those feedbacks were not getting across to our talents, because of that glitch. We kind of like explained it on the channel, so probably that's the reason why you didn't get that feedback, but I'm sure there's a feedback for why that role was kept hanging. And I'm sure the new one you applied to, you're already getting feedbacks from Queen and all of that. So it's just probably the glitch, plus it's just the glitch. That's what I suspect.
Yeah, I noticed. Okay, no problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So does anyone have any other questions for us? Feel free to pick up the mic. Don't be scared. No one is judging anybody here. We're all here to help you all succeed. That's the reason why we're doing what we're doing. So just feel free to raise your hands up, and I'll invite you up stage, and you can then ask the questions freely. Okay, James, you want to go? Okay. Hello, James, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I just wanted to ask a question around the CV itself. I want to ask some of the vetting processes that some of these recruiters, what do you check for? I want to ask particularly around, firstly, on the project that a candidate have worked on, and secondly, on the GitHub profile of that person. So for I just want to get a clarification. For some of the projects that I've worked on before could just be projects that, I may not have to be able to put it on my CV to show, but some are just ones that, in fact, I've even deployed some of them that are backend stuff. That I'm using Heroku, which is just a free dynos I'm using, and some of them can no longer log into those applications again. So the question is, what did you look out for when it comes to projects that a candidate have worked on before? Secondly, did you check on GitHub of developers? What exactly do you think you look out for in the GitHub of a developer that we know we can start putting this in our mind? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question, especially for the vetting process. Okay, so there are a couple of things and a couple of hints, and I think you guys are asking the right questions to bring out the right answers from us. So, for example, we had a client, they're obviously an international client, and this is like the first time hiring from Africa, and one of the questions they asked us was this: we don't want to interview anybody yet. All we simply want is candidates and their profiles. Not really their profiles, the things that they've worked on. And we didn't realize that after putting that on, we shortlisted candidates, we had conversations with people. We didn't realize that a lot of very good engineers, they don't then have good projects that they could show that actually would tell them that, or tell the client that they're actually good engineers. So, and it happens a whole lot of times, there are times when you're working in an organization and you typically don't have time to even work on your own personal projects, but what that does is it keeps you in that organization for a long time, and it doesn't give you the room to now look out for other opportunities out there that might be good for you. So I would always advise that find a way to balance time while working for the organization you're working at, and still create room for either open source projects or projects that you can actually just try out, and put out there that has some bit of complexity to show that this is who you are and this is how your skill has obviously improved. Now, going back to your question around what we look out for on GitHub, typically our engineering manager typically goes there, look at your GitHub profile. If you're a backend engineer, okay, what are some of the things you're observing? Are you using the MVC framework or any other architecture that exists out there? Looks at how you write your functions, how your controllers are structured, how even your GitHub, the repository in itself, how you named, the repository, the project that you guys are doing, and if it's an API, for example, what are some of the endpoints that are there, that sort of stuff. Just looks at how the structure is, and it gives us an idea of, okay, this person can actually get the job done. This person actually has an understanding of what he's doing, and we also look out for things like, okay, how frequently do they write their code, or how frequently do they write codes? GitHub has this stuff whereby you can see, how much or how long the person develops, or how long the person has been developing for. So those are some of the things that we look out for on GitHub, but we don't base all our, all our analysis based off GitHub. We also want to look at your LinkedIn profile, how consistent is your LinkedIn profile with your CV, those are some of the things we look out for, when looking at your GitHub profile, and also looking at, but I've always advised that while working or while growing in your career, have some pet projects, work with other developers, build something on the side, put it out there, even if it's something you've built before that the client is refusing to pay, for the hosting or that, find a way to get a small host that that you can always host this thing online, even if the person says, I no longer want to do it again, so that way it serves as a proof of this is what I can do and this is what I've done. I hope this helps. James.
Thank you. I think it's clear.
Thank you. Okay, Jerry, I think Jerry has a question.
Yes, good evening. I joined late, but I basically want to ask certain questions, branching off what you said this last time. So I will have two questions, and the second one might be like what I might suggest. So it means basically that people who do not have really good, who actually are working but do not have online profiles that show they are working, do not really stand a chance. And that's my first question. So second question is just like I said, not much of a question, just like a suggestion. To also show that you have good engineers on your side, on your end, that maybe do not have really good online presence because they are too occupied. Is there a way you can come up with your own kind of vetting process that has to do with is anything live coding sessions, interviews that you can do maybe once in a while, once in 3 months, and at least have like a consistent knowledge of like the engineers you have in your pool. So that's basically a suggestion. Is there anything like that? So those are my two questions actually.
Okay. First of all, that's a very good suggestion. I think we put it down, and start seeing how we can work out plans for that. And it's true, that's the reason why I said, we don't usually base, because there are times when you're working in an organization, and while working in an organization, all your repositories are private, and the public ones are probably Hello World, Flutter demo, very basic stuff, and by the time we look at your activity on GitHub, we're seeing a lot of grains, You know, it means you're working, but it's just that it's not visible to us, you know. So we also understand that part, you know, and we don't base all our judgment on just your GitHub profiles or whether you have, but the thing is, most companies, you know, especially people that are trying to, the international market is kind of like opening up to, and this is just to give you guys an insight, it's kind of like opening up to the African market, you know, and in other countries like India, you know, development is becoming more expensive, you know, for the Western world, you know, so it just opens up more opportunities for Africans, you know, but the thing now is while trying, they are scared, you know, and to remove that fear, they want to see what has been done before. So what we then advise is so that you don't get to, for clients that want to see, you know, that probably our vetting process cannot convince them well enough, just have that, so that way it's easy for us to then serve that, you know, because we are here to defend you, you know, especially when we're putting you in front of the clients, you know. So in order for you, it's just think of it like this: if 100%, if 100 clients come to meet us right now, 50 of them might say they want to see your portfolios, you know, and if you don't have any public profile to show that you're actually competent, then it means that you're only open to the other 50%. I hope that makes sense, or that gives some context.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Okay, Lamide, do you want to add to what I've said? Queen, do you want to add to what I've said?
No, William, I think you said it all.
Okay. Okay. Are there more questions?
How about the notification you talk about? Have you talked about that?
Okay, I'm not sure I got your question, James.
Okay, so you were trying to talk about that because you actually advised that we should apply it immediately. The gig is out, something like that.
Yeah.
The notification of the thing, sometimes it could get delayed and we don't get to see it. What do you advise in that instance?
Yeah. So right now our notifications are, you know, we've rectified that. So notifications are going out right now. You know, we've also identified that, you know, the newsletters will kind of like send out, you know, we don't usually add the jobs, you know, that are currently active, you know, so we've started, you know, from the next newsletter you'll be seeing after now, you start seeing some of the active jobs, you know, there. So even if you missed the initial notification, you would always see the newsletter, you know, so that way you're always notified. Another thing we also do too is the roles that are very active, we put them on Slack, you know, so you can always turn on your Slack notification so that way, you know, as notifications come in, you know, you get notified. Yeah. I think I'll just take one last question. And Sheena kind of like asked the question, what are the chances for entry-level devs landing a role? Okay, so we're currently working on something internally because most of the clients that come to us already are looking for mid-level engineers and you know, senior level talents. You know, for the junior level talents, we see fewer roles. So if we have 100 roles coming to us, you know, let's say every week, you know, we typically will just get 10 that are junior, you know, and most of the time we get to see that the clients don't prioritize them. As if they give us 5 roles, for example, and they're trying to fill 4 senior roles and 1 junior role, they usually prioritize the senior role over the junior role. So yes, the chances are there, but they're a bit slim. And anytime you see them, jump on them real quickly, you know, so that you know, jump on them real quickly and show. I know as a junior developer, you have little things to show, but show as much as you can. We've worked on several projects, mini projects, show those projects. They kind of like help. And when you come on the conversation or when you're eventually invited for an interview, sound smart, you know, sound smart, be audible, work on your communication frequency. That helps, you know. Yeah, these are some of the things that would help you get a role. But internally, we're working on something for entry-level developers. The business team is working on that, you know, with some of our clients, you know, to see how as senior developers are being hired, junior developers are also being assigned. So that's something I'm also working on. But when it's out and we have it all structured out, we'll announce that within the pool.